Welcome back to Joellen's Kitchen. Today we're going to make a rice souffle. And it sounds pretty fancy, but it's kind of like a rice pudding but fluffier because we're going to beat egg whites and put that in. But first, however you want to do it, we want to make rice. And what I have here is 2 cups of water. I'm going to put that into my rice cooker. I'm going to take a shortcut because it takes 20 to 30 minutes roughly in a rice cooker, where it could take longer if you're cooking it on the stove, but if that's how you do it, fine. And I have a cup of rice I'm putting in there. And I'm going to put in some salt, maybe a half a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm going to set it on my counter and let it do its thing. When it's done, we'll be back to make the souffle. Okay, my rice is done. Brought it over from the cooker, and I'm going to put it into a bowl to let it cool just a little bit. There we go. I like rice. We want to put in a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you like more, you can always put a teaspoon in. That's up to you. The next item is also optional, but I think it makes it. I love raisins. So a half a cup of raisins and 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And we're going to set that aside for 1 minute. I might just mix it a little bit so that it can seep in a little bit. We're going to make our egg whites. We want 4 eggs. See if I can keep them from rolling on the floor. And of course we have to separate them. I normally just do everything one-handed, but in this instance, we've got to separate the egg whites, so I'm going to have to use 2 hands. Switched over here to the side of my table where I'm going to use my mixer and mix up the egg whites. Okay, as you can see, they're white and fluffy with peaks. And before I put that into my rice, however, we're going to add milk. 1 quart of milk to be exact. And again, I'm using my PA Preferred. So that's 32 ounces. And that's 4 cups of milk. This is a 4-cup holder. I should be pretty close. There we go. Put the milk in with our rice. All right. And of course we're going to mix that up. Finish mixing everything we put in before. It's going to cool down the rice a little bit too. Seems like a lot of milk, but I'm following the recipe. I guess that's pretty well loosey-goosey milk and rice in there. I was just making sure I got the clumps of rice apart a little bit. Looks pretty good. But there's a lot of milk in there. And then we're going to fold in the egg whites. Just gently. And of course we're going to need something to bake it in. So we're going to get ourselves a container. I believe those egg whites are going to be mixed in with the milk mostly and thicken the milk the way it looks. And moisten the rice itself, sweeten it and make it taste a little bit like cinnamon. I think it's going to be good. I never made it before, so we're learning this together. If you've watched any of my other cooking shows for the Pennsylvania Dutch Cooking, you know that I like to spray my container with Pam so it's a lot easier to clean up. It doesn't stick so bad. And then we're just going to pour this rice souffle into the container here. And now we're going to fire up my old cook stove and put this in to bake. Now my cook stove is an old gas cook stove. There's a lot of controversy about them right now, but that's okay. I've always cooked on this, pretty much always, and I had a wood-burning stove when we lived back at Lickdale. But we're going to turn on the oven, get the gas going, light that up. You want a blue flame, and in this case a low blue flame. They want you to put it in at 325 degrees, which is not real high heat, but let it in for an hour. To even out the brownness, I will probably turn it around midway. I've learned that in this cook stove, there's more heat in the back than in the front. So by doing that, I can get more of an even browning. We'll see how it works today. Thank you. We'll be back. Okay, so here's the rice souffle. Let's give it a try. Wow, it's great.